So on this one, guys, I'm going to show you how to drill a hole, and the reasons you might need to drill a hole, well, the main reasons will be hanging pictures, mirrors, curtains, chin-ups, bars, a whole load of things. And I'm going to be showing you how I drill holes into masonry. And I'm going to show you an alternative method that I prefer over wall plugs, so something a wee bit different. So anybody thinking drilling holes and fitting curtains and stuff like that's very easy, but if you really do think back to the first time you did it, it's not just as easy as it seems, and I'm going to run through that. I know when I first started trying to do things like this, I was always forcing to drill too much, causing a lot of mistakes, and could have been better. And obviously the more you do anything, the better you'll become. So hopefully this will give anybody new to doing this, maybe just got their new house and stuff, or moved into your new apartment, whatever, and hopefully this gives you a bit of a head start, and let's just be able to get ahead of the game. So guys, I mentioned we're drilling through masonry. I think it's slightly important to know what you're going to be drilling through, whether it's plasterboard, timber, tiles, masonry. So masonry basically is something that's brick or block, but some houses are dabbed, which will be a sheet of drywall or plasterboard on the surface, and it could have insulation, so it could be quite thick before you will hit any masonry, and things like that can cause wee bits of problems if you don't understand them as well. And hopefully the clips on the screen here when I'm talking will sort of help you understand what the differences are. Right, so guys, here's a quick rundown of the tools you're going to need. So you're obviously going to need a drill and some drill bits. And if you're going through masonry, you're going to need masonry drill bits, which will have like a bit of a spear tip at the top, like a bit of a spade sort of shovel tip, which will be easy for you to sort of understand that it's a masonry bit, not just for wood. So the drills, the correct drill bit, you're going to need level, tape, a pencil, and possibly a small level, depending on what you're doing, but you should be able to get away with a big level. So obviously you don't have to go out and buy everything. I'm sure if you have some friends and family that you might be lucky enough to ask for a lend of some tools as well, as I know if it's the first thing you're doing about the house, it might be hard to go out and just buy drills. These aren't not the most expensive drills by any means, but at the same time you might not just have £100 sitting ready just to go and buy even a load of cheaper stuff. If you are using a quarter drill, you obviously need possibly an extension lead. For cleaning up the dust, you might need a hoover, or you can also maybe hoover it as you're drilling. What else will be handy will be a knife, pencil, tape, chisel. Might need a chisel for doing it the way I'm going to do it, and obviously something, if it's up high, you'll need something to get you up high. The trowel is here in case we make any mistakes, we need to patch them in, but if that happens, there'll be a video on that, guys, so you'll find that easy enough on the channel too. So I think I've covered all the tools that we might need. You might not need all these tools, and you might also get away with not needing some tools, but the more you have, the easier the job will be in case you need to do something. So basically all we're going to need for the way I'm doing it is screws and timber, and that's the way we're going to actually fit things. And then obviously you're going to need your mirror and stuff as well, or curtain hooks, whatever it is you're using. Hopefully whatever you've bought has hooks and possibly screws and stuff, and most of them actually do have plugs as well. If you actually want to just go ahead and use the plug, that's okay. Some safety equipment you might need is gloves, steel toe cap, boots, mask as there will be dust, and goggles as well as there will be dust, and you never know, the drill bit could splinter and break off, so safety first. Before we start going mad and drilling holes all over the place, I want you to take a few safety things into thought here, and that will be electrical and plumbing. You don't want to ever drill through a pipe or a wire, 100%. You don't not ever want to hit those things. So there's a few things you can do. Obviously you can get a stud finder, a pipe finder, a wire finder, the common wee device, and it'll go about the place. But obviously in this house I'm good because all the pipes are surface mounted, and I'll show you what that means, and I'll give you a couple of ways to also know if you are drilling beside a socket, a good way to sort of understand what way the wires are going and where never ever to drill.
So, not that I like surface mounted pipes, but in this occasion it works out a little bit handy when you're drilling and fitting things to the wall, as you know exactly where they are and where they're going. If you're planning on hanging a picture or fitting anything above, below or left or right of a socket or switch, it might be a good idea to knock your electric off, take the screws out, and I'll show you one way that can indicate what way the wires are coming and going to the switch. So obviously sometimes the paint can hold these things on after the screws are in, but if you look closely you can see the wires are travelling down into this back box, so that indicates to me that the wires are coming from the ceiling and coming down the way. So that is a good way to know never to drill above that, and just in general above, below and left and right of sockets and switches are areas to stay away from.
Here's one of the most important parts here before you drill is working out. Is that pencil, babe? Is doing your working outs of where everything has to be. So this here, I have the brackets fitted on this. This is a pull-ups bar. Not that I've done too many of those recently, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this level, and it's hard to know where you are with this wall that way, but I'll show you a wee trick around that in a second. It's good that I have one with a magnet as well, so I know that it's not perfectly plumb, so it wants to come down a wee bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this worked out slightly and marked around when I have it set, and mark it around, and then I can take that off, set the brackets back up and mark for my holes. So basically the only other way I know that it's square, because I can't measure off anything this way or that way, so I'll have to measure all the way across, and I'm going to do that quickly. And what you'll want to do is get roughly the same, have it as square as possible. One 663. And we're about an inch off, so I want to come an inch this way. About there. Let's just mark it here. Good thing about pencil, guys, as well, is you can always rub it off, so it won't leave any marks on your paint. Well, especially shiny paint. Some matte paints might be a bit different. Right, so just needs down a bit. That's me exactly where I want to be, so I'll just mark it on both sides. I've had this chin-ups bar quite a long time. It's fairly paid for itself. Right, so guys, now that I have my marks done, it's time to loosen this back out of the way. And quite simple. I had this all taped up, but it's quite simple, guys, now. So you can see the circles where we're at. I only really need one cup for this anyway, so we'll see it. So the way this works is these cups go in and the 10 amps bar actually twists, tightens and screws, bang bang, and it can't fall out then. But basically we'll have our mark here. All we've got to do is place it in, and I like to keep one hole up and two down. So I'll just put it in the centre as best as I can and simply mark the holes. Right, watch me mark on this side now. So again, on the other side, I'll line it up as best I can and just mark the holes again. I just fill the whole circle in really. And that's us ready to go. So that's our holes there that we want to drill out. This is the screws that I've picked here. Just have loads of these. And this here is a bit of a trick with a bit of tape. I'm not going to do the envelope trick, no. This is for a guide of how deep I need to go. I just put a bit of tape on it. This is not my trick. I get taught this obviously by my dad, who I think I get taught off my granda. So it's quite a gooby trick to know. Some drills do have another attachment that go on the top and will only let you go so far in, which is very good if you are doing things like this. So now that we have this set up, we know how deep we're going to go. It's just really time to drill these holes. Now this is probably, I'm going to maybe go another one bigger than this, but sometimes it's better to start with a smaller drill bit as a pilot hole so that the next one will take shape. As like I was showing you earlier, this wall's base now made up of a skim coat, a float coat, and then the brick and block. What we could encounter here is a joint, a mortar joint in the block, and what will happen then is the plaster and the sand cement backing coat here might be stronger than that, so the drill bit might actually shoot in a wee bit, so you know, you'll feel that being very soft, whereas brick or block might have a bit more resistance when drill. So keep them things in mind.
So once you load your drill bit, just make sure it's nice and tight and it's in straight in the chuck. You don't want it being all wobbly and wonky, nice and straight. So also you might want to double check your settings, get it on the settings that are going to work best for you. And I find that starting off slow, not in the hammer mode, just in the drill mode, just to get the hole started. And once I get it started, I'm happy enough to change it to the hammer mode then, and it should get in faster. The hole should come out faster for you. You can see actually my drill bit just loosen the chuck there slightly, so you might have to just tighten it as you go as well, guys. I'm not going to edit that out because it might happen to you doing it first on the first attempt. So just make sure it is double check it's tightened, and that's me on hammer now, and I will drill it all the way in till my tape hits the mark. Again, not the most powerful wee drills, but for doing small wee jobs they're quite handy, nice and light, especially good for plasterboarding, which I usually do use them for. And again, second hole, same as before. You don't really want to start with hammer, especially if it's your first job, you're only starting out, as the hammer can make the bit slide, you know, and you'll be way off target and you'll not even know where your marks were, as you'll probably tip them off. So better just to start off nice and slow, just in the drill mode, and then once you get in and you know you're well in touching the brick, you can swap it to hammer and it's much quicker. So again, keep going. I have 3 to do on this side, 3 to do on the opposite side. So just always try to keep the drill, let the drill do the work, and just keep it steady. Again, these aren't most powerful drills. Some ones with leads you might find have much more power in them. This is where you might need those gloves that I showed you guys, as once you've been using the drill bit, it does get very hot and will give you a real nasty burn. So either let them cool down or get the gloves on, or just let them fall off onto something that they can't damage when you change them over. And obviously now I'm just changing it over, and this is like I showed you, make sure they're in straight, and that should keep your drill safe and the hole that you're about to drill nice and safe. So I'm obviously not having it all my own way on this side. I know the other side drilled super, but this side for some reason the drill chuck keeps sort of slipping on me or coming loose, but I'll eventually get there. But these are small issues and problems you might get when you come to do wee jobs like this yourselves, so not to panic. And even if the drill bit was to get stuck in there in the hole, you can always sort of try to retighten the chuck or get some pliers and pull it out. Just try your best not to bend or break it. And I've almost got my holes widened up now. I always give the holes a wee quick hoover out just to get any dust out, and should give your fitting better grip then, so there's no loose debris or stones inside. Okay. So the next stage here is making up our wooden plugs, and all I've done there, as you can see, is marked it out the same depth as the hole, and making sure that it will be thicker than my screw, obviously. So just mark them all out, split them up into wee dial shapes, wee squares, and we will later need to just round them off a bit as well. We'll show you that quickly. Again, you could just buy plugs, but I find this way much superior, and especially if you do happen to get the hole a wee bit wrong, these always compensate for anything bad like that. So just simply round them off slightly, guys, so that they fit into the hole. You don't want them too small, you want them to be tight. So if you sort of leave the middle a wee bit fat, I'll show you how we fit them in, and what happens if things don't go perfectly, how you can adapt to just clean off the top. And again, if you did go too small, you could always carve up another one and squeeze it in beside. And not only do I think this is superior to the plastic ones, I've seen plastic ones come out so easy, but well, my grand always swore by wooden plugs are much superior. And I remember being on site, guys, wee story, and pulling a nail out that was in a wooden plug, and the whole brick came out with it. Nail and plug still attached to brick. So we'll give you a bit of an idea of how well these things hold. So simply, just as you would with actually even better than you would with a plastic plug, you can tap them in with a hammer. So if you do happen to have one that's just a wee bit too proud, with a nice sharp chisel, which this one's not too sharp, or a knife, you can just clean them off. I'll show you that again later. So it won't be long now till we'll have this bar fitted, but basically, guys, this is the easier parts now. All the working out and hard work's been done, and you could actually use a handheld screwdriver if you wanted. The wooden plugs are so easy to screw into, but as I have the wee combo set of drill and wee impactor, I tend to just stick with it, plus my screws fit the bit that I have as well. So we're flying now. As you can see, 3 in. I just tried not to tighten one in case it kinked the other. Try to put them all in sort of even amounts each time, and you can see how strong that is. And here's the other wee trick you can use with the hoover. Just if you have a lovely assistant that can hold the hoover for you when you drill the hole and collect the dust, that way there'll be much less dust on the ground and you'll have a bit of a less cleanup time. So just another 3 screws to go, and then we'll test this out with my whole body weight and show you how strong these plugs actually really are. So again, try not to put any one screw in too far at a time. It's going nice and even, and again that will stop anything kinking on you as you go one end too far.
Basically, when you're hanging curtains above a door or a window, you want to decide how far down you want the curtains to go. Whether you want them, actually some people might want them literally touching the floor, or like me, I'd want them just up a wee inch or so. So most curtains, if they come brand new or in a pack, they'll have measurements and you'll be able to measure up and down. So you'll know exactly where they're going to hit, where they're going to loop. The other thing you'll have to take into consideration then is your clips and that. Of, you know, some might drop down lower, so you might need to measure off that also. But hopefully if you've bought brand new curtain poles and stuff, all the measurements will be there, and it'll be a matter of measuring down and measuring up. So ours are going to be sitting there. But again, sometimes it's nice to put them and have a look and see exactly where you want them and forget the measurements. Go by what looks good to yourself and what's going to keep the draft in, or sorry, the draft out. You want to keep the draft in. This is a big draft, has a big long neck, a yellow, a blue tongue, believe it or not. Okay.
So I have 2 more holes to drill on each one. One here to be fixed and one there that allows the fitting to move up and down on the screw.
Right, so guys, another thing to take into consideration when you're drilling for curtains, blinds, and curtain poles here, that above the windows and the doors is going to be a concrete lintel, probably about that thickness there. And I'll try and get you a wee clip on the screen somewhere where I'm plastering over one, so you sort of get the idea of what's happening. And by the way, I haven't plastered any of this yet. It's on the to-do list, some of these walls. But so back to this video. It's going to be very, very dense concrete, so it's very strong concrete. So it's going to really be tough to drill through, so you have to keep that in mind when you're going through the plaster. And you hit the hard, try not to slide, try to go through easy. But let's get this marked out here.
It's good to measure twice and fit once. So I've measured this a few times here, and I'm able now to mark up the 2 holes that I need to drill. And just using the wee small level, just to get a nice straight line up and down, make sure they're both in line. Again, most times the curtain bracket would block any marks that the pencil makes, but also you can clean them off after. And again on the other side. And what I'll do is I'll check that for level, and then I'll shoot the level across the marks also. Here's a nice close-up. You'll gather the way I mark it, so that I know I'm nice and straight both ways. And obviously you level the bottom marks off each other, make sure you're on the same side. And that's how you know you'll have nice holes to fit. Perfect. Now that we do have everything lined up, measured and marked, measure twice, drill once, it's time to get the drilling done. And this to me is the easy part. If we just take our time, make sure we set the drill up right, just like showed you earlier, and get the holes all drilled. So what I'll do is I'll get these 4 holes drilled and quickly jump back to you and show you the plugs going in and how I fit the brackets in. So now that I have my holes all drilled and hoovered out, it's time to top the wooden plugs in. Obviously just top them, guys. You want to snap them. Just a wee gentle tap in.
Basically what happens here is you should always be able to put one of them in somewhat, and then that big hole should hook like so and back around. If you do need to move this, you just unscrew that out of the way like so. Do not lose that, guys. You will need it. Fuck's sake. Right, I'm just gonna go tighten this one. Nope, don't.
Only thing I have left to do now is just put the wee top hook back on, and it was just a simple wee screw from the bottom, and it keeps them adjustable so that the pole can, this is the minimum distance from the wall, but the pole can actually come out a wee bit longer from the wall, and that wee screw there will tighten up the pole. We'll sort that later.
I know. Keep going. Okay, keep that off. Right, so guys, I've just set the post on here, the pole on already, and so normally when you get your curtains fitted, don't forget to tighten these 2 wee bits here. They can be screws or just hand tightened. Most times they're hand tightened, but first we need to get the curtains on, and you obviously want the good side facing you, so you have to loop them like so. Sort of go to, it's not opposite to opposite, so it'll always be face to face and then white to white, you know, face to face, so it's the same to the same to the same basically. And then what you want to do then is actually feed your pole through these first. So I haven't got much room up here at all, but get them all fed through one end. Sometimes if you don't want them pulling over, you can keep this to the other side of the hook, but for this occasion we don't need to do that because we need it to be free for the door. And obviously I couldn't put the wee decorative piece on that end because it wouldn't fit, so sometimes you have to adjust to suit. But basically guys, that is it. It gives you a wee, this will definitely make this door look prettier. Like, it's an alright door, but there you go. job's good. All I need to do is don't forget to tighten them, because the pole can pop off and might crack you on the head. If it's a heavy one, it would not be nice. So don't forget to tighten them up, and that will lock the pole into place, like so. And most times hand tightening's good enough. Sometimes they loosen over time. Just give it another tighten, or if you really want to get some pliers or clamps on it, and give it a wee quarter turn. But you don't want to go mad, because most of these metals are soft and can damage easy, so you don't want to be doing that. Hand tighten 9 times out of 10 is good enough for them. So really hope this is helping people so far. Right, so guys, our next mission here is to fit this mirror, and thankfully it's already stringed. I think this is an antique, it's been handed down a couple of times, but I'll do for the demonstration. So basically we want 2 screws to catch the back of this, or 2 hooks. 2 hooks probably will be better, but I only have screws, so we'll be screwing it, and then when it hooks onto the 2 screws, it will lean against the wall safely. But basically what we want to work out is where we want to put our screws. So we only want 2, and we want them nice and level. So I'm going to mark on this, and then I can refer that to the wall where we want it on the wall. So I think we'll come in, try and keep it nice and even. Come in at 9 inches, say. So it's going to be one about there, and then we're going to be, what you have to watch, guys, is 6 looks like 9 upside down. You ever doing that? So about there, say. So now we need to measure the whole thing as well, so that we know roughly where it's going up on the wall here. So I measure up off the ground where we want it also, and then we can measure off the bottom, and this will give us where our screw holes are going to be. This probably sounds very, very complicated, but it's not. You can follow this step by step if you just want, guys. Also, you can probably fit some screws in them 2 fittings as well, or 2 hooks if you have them, but the string, 2 screws there will be perfect to hold it. Okay. So we'll just put a line on our top, a line on our bottom, and that'll help us decide where we're going. Okay. Yeah, tell me where you think, where you're happy with.
I think you happy there?
Yeah. Right, so guys, I measured my top and bottom, but I forgot the side. This will be very important, because that's really going to be my fixing point. You really only need 1 top and 1 to the side to work out where you're going to screw to. Now that we have 2 points, or 2 fixed points on the wall, we'll measure the back of that, because we know that we're going to fix 9 inches in, and then transfer that up to the wall. This is as far over as we're going. I know it's 40 and a half inches, pretty easy to remember. And I'll just mark that on this side. So now all I need to do is come in 9 inches, and basically we're good to go. I'll level it up obviously as well. So where are we? So that's us at 9 there, and 9 here. We'll do that one again, it's a bit messy. So that's our 2 9s, and I'm going to just plumb them right through. I'll also double check roughly what we're off that one foot, so we'll hang a wee bit. Probably going to hang just slightly lower than what we did first one, but so I'll come off this one then. I'll come off the top one, so it's exactly where we want then, more likely. And we're going to miss that slightly, so I need to plumb that up again. So what you can see, guys, is I'm making center points here, and that's where you want to drill on these axes, right in the middle, and that's our 9 inches in, and we're going to fit these screws now, which is going to be simple as last time, just screwing, drilling out, and putting in our plug and screwing in the screws.
So, almost finished up, and made a wee bit of a mistake with that plug there, but I'll show you how you overcome that if you do tend to use these wooden plugs. So the left hand one went in lovely and flush, this one just stayed a bit proud, and simple. You get a nice flat knife to the side. Sometimes you can use a Stanley blade, but this works the best, as you can see. Nice and tidy again, and ready to screw. So when you're hanging a mirror or a picture and it has a thread or it's been strung at the back of the string, I find it would be a better idea, guys, to screw the threads fully in so that it's at the smooth side of the screw, if you can see that, and obviously just leave yourself enough gap where the string can go behind. But the idea is that there's no threads left that can actually damage the string in behind, just leaving the smooth part. All that's left now, guys, is just to hang the strings onto it. Can be a wee bit tricky, but just make sure you get them hooked on before you actually let go of the mirror. So that's it. Just really line it up with my marks either side, and we'll double check it with the level after as well. Good luck with your project, guys.